Thank you for coming, everyone, and thank you for that great welcome. I am so happy to see all of you here. This is a great event, and everyone looks like they're enjoying themselves, so that's wonderful. I've been told to be short, so I am going to look at my list. First, I would like to welcome the individuals that were involved with our original founders, the families who helped set up the original programs, our sponsors that are here, special guests, and all of our families and employees and other community members and friends that have come. I'd like to recognize all of the people that have contributed to our year-long celebration. We've had a lot of employees and family members, board members, work on committees all year long to help celebrate our 50th anniversary. We've created a float that looked like a giant birthday cake if some of you haven't seen it. We marched in 3 parades, and we had a wonderful large picnic for all of the participants in our programs and their families, where we had well over 350 individuals attend. We've had many businesses and individuals donate to provide us the opportunities to have all these celebrations, including businesses in our area, and our special recognition of our major sponsor, United Bank. So I have to make a special mention of one person who worked tremendously hard to put on this year-long celebration, and that's Mike Hellichu, our Director of Marketing and Community Relations. Thank you, Mike. He did a phenomenal job. He worked really hard. He kept us all going. We're glad it's almost over. So we also have 2 people in our audience tonight who were in the original group of parents, family members, and special educators that established our organization that we know today as Allied Community Services, or the Allied Group. Please join me in acknowledging 2 of our founding family members, Ray Flaherty and Claire Ledoux.
What a pleasure this is to have been invited to this wonderful event. I was hired by Evelyn Barron, she's over there, to be the first employee. But before that, I was on the board of directors. And we used to meet at a home of one of the directors, and we said, we have to do something to start a program. So we hired Evelyn Barron. She was dynamo. She started everything, and I used to not look forward to going in on Monday mornings because there'd be notes this high. She wanted something done, and she wanted it done right away. But she started it all. She was dynamic. And our first office was in our president's basement, Eve Samani's basement. And Evelyn went around to find as many clients as she could who would be interested in coming to our adult program. So I was typing up a letter on the bar of Eve Samani's basement rec room, and we did a mailing, and we had some good response. I think we had 8 clients the very first program. So then we needed a director. Evelyn hired a director for that program, and we were over on High Street in a room in the church. It was no longer a church, it was a community center. So we started there. From there, we moved to the school, South School. We had the first floor. We filled that up with all kinds of clients and programs, and then we grew so big, we had to use the second floor. So every room was filled with different programs, and this is all due to Evelyn. She was dynamic. I've said that before, but it's so true. And we went on. We went on for years. I'm sure she can fill you in on more history, but being the first employee, I'm very happy. I'm happy to see so many of you with such a successful, huge program that Allied has become. Very, very proud of all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Claire.
My name is Ray Flaherty, and I was one of the presidents way back when we started. In fact, we brought Evelyn on board, and we're very glad we did. Let me go over a little bit of the history that some people don't know regarding our association. Back in 1962, there were a group of individuals who wanted to start an ARC in Enfield. Well, the names I'll read off, see if you recognize them. Don Spencer, Norma Lundquist, Al D'Alessandro, my wife Jan Flaherty, June Curtanis, Kathy Goldsby, and Don Brown. Now they started this thing back in 1962, and the program got started. It was very shaky, and finally it just sort of dissolved. So we'll go one more step here. In 1964, they decided, let's get this thing going right. So once again, we got Don Spencer. These names may not mean anything to a lot of people, but they're the people who started this. Al D'Alessandro, he was the owner of Skidco Market, and a great help to us. Kathy Goldsby, Norma Lundquist, and I found myself there, and Don Brown once more. Well, we were holding board meetings and not making any headway. And we had, I think it was $7,000 in our treasury, which we got from fundraisers and so forth. And we decided one night, let's take that $7,000, we'll make or break this outfit. We'll hire a part-time executive director. We ran an ad in the paper, and we had 4 applicants. So I'll never forget it. It was a snowy night in December, snowing like heck. We're over by Skidco Market in one of Al's buildings over there. And we did the interviewing, and this one lady came in, and she had high boots on, all decked out, you know, all modern stuff. That was Evelyn Barron. Well, right away, we recognized what we had, and we hired her of the 4 applicants. And as far as I'm concerned, everything revolved around Evelyn from then on. She took hold of it and she just ran with it. And we can't thank her enough. So let's see what else I can find here. There are other people that we have to say thanks to, but I'd like to say thanks to the people who are running the organization today, keeping the torch alive, and the cause is still there. So thank you.
Thank you, Ray. So both Ray and Claire talked about Evelyn, who was the first paid executive director of the agency, and how she worked part-time in the basement of one of the family's homes, and then full-time until 1988. So please join me in welcoming Evelyn Barron.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. There's one thing these people did not say about our association. When I came to work, can you hear me all right? When I came to work for the association, we joined the National Association for the Retarded. We also joined the state. Under the National Association, there were hundreds of executive directors just like I. We marched on Washington. We marched on Washington to close institutions, and we were successful. Then we appeared at the State House, at the State of Connecticut, and the Department of Mental Retardation also were very nice to us. The governor and all the representatives. I would call them, and truly, they did listen to me. I was so proud. I was a little social worker, and all of a sudden, they made me head of administration. It was wonderful. It was wonderful, everybody. We started the Adult Work Activity Center, and I'd like to introduce to you one of our first directors. When they closed down the institution, they closed the institution and they started a group home in Enfield. The first one had 24 people. And Pam and I were just speaking last week. I'd like to introduce you to Pam Heeper. She told me how she developed special programs for people who all their lives had lived in institutions. Pam, come on, stand up. There we go. I also hired, besides Kelly, I hired Jean Gregoire, and she's still working. Linda Burnell, where are you?
Jeannie, you need to stand up so everybody knows who you are.
Then we have two men here tonight who were very helpful to me. Dick Willett was one of our presidents in the beginning. Dick Willett. And Tom Carney, who I understand has been on the board of directors for 33 years. And Frank Sandy came on just as I was leaving. And we also have here tonight Dick Schrabis. Without him, we would have no program. He was wonderful to us. Like everybody else, having been away for 20 years, I had no idea what you people were accomplishing. We thought we did a big thing when we built 3 Pearson Way. We had a big fundraiser, and we got the money, and we handed it over to Dean Warren. Where is it? I handed you over a brand new building, all paid for, and some money in the bank. I truly, to all you employees who are here, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Carol too, for having such a wonderful program as I saw a few weeks ago.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Evelyn. So Evelyn already acknowledged Dean. He's standing way in the back, and he followed Evelyn to lead our organization. He served as president and CEO for more than 23 years. When Dean took over in 1988, after Evelyn retired, the Greater Enfield ARC served about 100 participants, had 50 staff members, and an operating budget of $1.5 million. Today, we serve more than 185 participants in 16 north central Connecticut towns through allied rehabilitation centers and more than 4,000 individuals throughout the state of Connecticut and the state of Alabama through our Allied Community Resources subsidiary. We employ 222 staff members, and the combined operating budget for our allied group is approximately $12 million. So we've come a long way from the early years. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce State Senator John Kissel and Representative David Alexander.
I'd like to thank everybody here associated with Allied for allowing me to share in this wonderful moment, and in particular, Mike and Dean, whom I've known for 2 decades now and consider them great friends, and all the new folks that I'm going to meet over the years will consider great friends as well. Any organization that stands the test of time for 50 years deserves an awful lot of credit. It is made up of you folks that I was delighted in listening to. We could certainly use people in government that can hand over administrations with money in the bank. That would be good. We need more people like you. But think about your cause, the people that you love, the loved ones that you care for. Think about how much progress our nation has made in these last 50 years because of you. Now we have inclusion. Now we have acceptance. And now we have opportunities for those in our communities who, not that many years ago, may have not been quite understood, and in the worst cases, perhaps shunned. So you deserve an awful lot of credit for changing people's lives in a very fundamental way. Our acceptance of people with special needs and challenges that many of us may not have has made a huge difference, not only in the lives that you have touched, but in the way the entire community in North Central Connecticut and beyond look at individuals with special needs. And so you are doing God's good work here in our community, and for that I commend you on 50 years of doing it together in a very positive way. And with that, I'm happy to turn it over to my friend and colleague, nonpartisan, bipartisan, for his remarks, and he will read the citation. So to all of you, a hearty and heartfelt congratulations.
Thank you, John, for your kind words, and I echo 100% your sentiments about Allied community and what they've done for our region of the state for over 50 years, which is just amazing. And thanks for coming here to the 58th District. This is part of my district, so welcome to my side of Enfield in the 58th. And I would like to mention that Representative David Kiner, who also fills the Enfield delegation, wanted to be here tonight. He really is under the weather. I saw him briefly today, and he's got a really bad bug or flu. He wanted to be here. And I'll be brief. I'll read the citation that we drafted from the state of Connecticut to commemorate today. It is dated 20th of October, because that's the official 50th anniversary. And I have to say, this is one of the most unique citations I've ever seen, because there's a lot of legislators' names on it. And I'm going to read all the names, not to just ramble names and give elected officials plugs, but it shows the range that Allied community has had helping people beyond Enfield or North Central Connecticut into the greater Hartford area. A state rep district is about 24,000 people. A state senate district is 100,000 plus. And if you look at all these names I'm going to read off, it'll really show, I think, a testament to the amount of work and the amount of reach that this organization has helping a lot of people. So I'll read it real quick. State of Connecticut General Assembly official citation introduced by Representative David W. Kiner, Representative David Alexander, Representative Peggy Sayers, Representative Christopher Davis, Representative David A. Barham, Representative Tammy Zawakowski, Representative Jason Rojas, Representative Henry Jenga, Representative Timothy Larson, Representative John Hampton, Representative Penny Bakayaki, Representative William Amon, Senator John A. Kissel, Senator Gary D. LeBeau, Senator Eric D. Coleman, Senator Beth Bai, Senator Kevin D. Witkos. Be it hereby known to all, the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Allied Community Service Incorporated, in recognition of celebrating 50 years of providing vital human service programs and creative opportunities for clients. As a parent corporation for the Allied Group of agencies, we applaud Allied Community Services and the numerous programs that have assisted countless individuals with disabilities or other challenges to be given the opportunity to live and enjoy a more productive, independent, and fulfilling life. On this special day, we recognize the difference you have made in the lives of many in our neighboring towns and across the state, and for that we are grateful. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success given this 20th day of October 2014 at the state capitol, Hartford, Connecticut, by Don Williams, President Pro Tem of the Senate, J. Brendan Sharkey, Speaker of the House, and Denise Merrill, Secretary of the State. Again, congratulations.
We would have also had a few other dignitaries here that couldn't make it, and I'll just mention that Mayor Scott Copen of Enfield sends his regrets, and First Selectman Denise Menard from East Windsor. But they will be presenting proclamations to Allied at their town meetings on October 20th and October 21st, respectively. So we'll spread the word about the times in case anyone would like to show up. We'd like to have a big showing at both of those town meetings. I'd also now like to introduce someone from State Department of Developmental Services that has worked with us for a very long time. Department of Developmental Services is the major fundraiser for Allied, the major funder, for Allied's programs. And we've had DDS contracts for many, many years. And the majority of the individuals that live in this area, that's how they receive their funding. So I have here tonight Deputy Commissioner Joe Drexler, who has been at DDS for over 20 years. I can't remember the exact number, Joe, 26, I think. And before that, he worked in a private agency for 8 years and started volunteered from when he was 16 years old. So he's been around for maybe not 50 years, but a good amount of time working with human service programs. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Mr. Joe Drexler.
Thank you. I'm here today on behalf of the department and Commissioner Macy, who unfortunately had a prior engagement, and to congratulate you. And I will be brief because I know that's one thing I can usually do right to when I have to speak publicly. The first thing I got to do, though, is thank you for sharing your memories. Although I'm from the Middletown area, so many of the things you've talked about match with some of my experiences, because I was one of the first staff in one of the first group homes that was opened in that area, just about the time you opened your first group home. So, and once again, we serve people who are coming from Mansfield and Southbury, and some people who were living with their families. And so I was part of sort of this societal experience, if you will, that your agency was a big part of in Connecticut to make things better. And I thank you for all your memories and evoking those in me. I think for those of you who aren't as familiar with Allied of today, though, I do want to make a couple points about the agency, because one of the things that I think is really neat about Allied is that it's such a diverse organization. Starting with some of the day services and then employment and things that began at the beginning, and then opening group homes. Allied also does things like recreation, Special Olympics, things like that, and a lot of those things aren't funded by DDS. So while we fund a lot of things and help Allied in that regard, that isn't all that Allied tries to be. Allied just isn't somebody that takes state dollars and provides services that the state pays for. Allied's mission is broader to the community and provide services that they have to raise and find money for. So I think that's really important to know about them. Something else is that they are part of some of the most progressive leading activities that are going on in the state. And once again, sort of following the tradition. When they started providing services to adults with disabilities, this was a cutting edge agency. When it opened its first group home, it was a cutting edge agency. Well, now Allied is one of 2 fiscal intermediaries in the state. And for those of you who don't know what a fiscal intermediary is that now we try to give families as many options as possible for getting services to support people with disabilities. And one of the ways we do that is for families and individuals that want to, they can hire their own staff and put together the services exactly like they want. It's a really neat thing, but there's a lot of hard work that has to go on in the background with that. Families don't know how to run a business and employee taxes and workers' comp and all these things. And there needs to be somebody behind and supporting them so that they can have the services the way they want, but that all the rules and all the laws and everything gets taken care of. And that's one of the programs that Allied does, is one of our 2 fiscal intermediaries in the state. And we're very grateful. And like I said, it points out that this is an agency that was on the cutting edge 50 years ago and is still on the cutting edge now. And then I'd just like to close with one thought that I get when I come to an event like this is I continue to be awed by the people who started these organizations. I mean, we have all kinds of problems and troubles, and certainly the funding for the last few years has not kept pace with the inflation, and the Allied, like other agencies, are having to figure out how to make it work and all. And I'm certainly have to deal with some of those same stressors on a statewide basis. To me, compared to what you guys did, starting with nothing and creating all of those services, you know, it's humbling, and I mean that very sincerely. That I can't imagine doing that. I can imagine figuring out how to save a little money here and how to do a little something there. But to have started with just a dream and to build this it truly is inspiring, and certainly I hope all of us who are still, you know, either with Allied or in the state in other ways, you know, I hope it kind of inspires us to try to do right by all the people who built Allied and all these other great agencies.
Thank you very much, Deputy Commissioner Joe Drexler, for those kind words. There are some people that I had on my list to thank, but they've been thanked before, so I'm not going to go over it again. So at this time, I would like to thank our board of directors, our current board of directors, all of them that have come here and all of them that come to meetings every month and listen to me talk. To speak for them and for everyone else, I would like to introduce our current president, Frank Santee, chairman of our board of directors. I'm the president, you're the chairman.
It's okay, whatever. I will definitely be brief. I first of all, on behalf of the board, I want to thank everyone for their hard work, their commitment to make this, from representatives to DSS to everyone who were committed to make this gala event such a special event. It's amazing to me, and it does go back. It goes back 50 years, not 75 years, but it goes back 50 years. And you know, Evelyn, 25 years ago, she didn't tell the story, but Evelyn Barron was the pioneer. She was the one who molded this agency 50 years ago and for 25 years thereafter. And how she did it? She did it because Evelyn had a way of getting everyone to say yes. It was a talent that Evelyn had from the beginning, and she would say it this way. She would say to anyone, from the governor to me when she was asking me to serve on the board, listen, if you would only do this, you would make me so happy for the rest of my life. I would be so happy. She probably said that 12 times every hour. And that's how she molded this agency. And from the bottom of our heart, Evelyn, we thank you for all that you did for this agency. And then after the first 25 came Dean Wern, who had a vision. He had a vision to say, listen, yes, we ask for things, but now we want to give it back. We don't just want to be an agency that says, give us something, and said well by Joe when he mentioned the diversity of this agency. We had to be financially responsible. We had to find a way to be self-sufficient. We have to find a way that when the day comes, and it may, that there may not be half the money that's there, that we can still serve our clients. And Dean set that precedent. You saw the numbers, you heard the numbers. And from the bottom of our heart, Dean Wern, we thank you. And now we enter into the next 25, or the next 50, maybe the next 100. I won't be here. But we have Carol. And we are blessed to have Carol Bonnet as our CEO. She will face challenges in the next few years. In fact, she's facing them already that Evelyn and Dean never had to even think about. But we are blessed to have someone with her capability to face those challenges. And we thank you, Carol, for accepting that responsibility. I serve on a board of directors with some of the finest men and women that I could ever ask for. They do it because they care. And I can remember over these 26 years that I've been on the board of some giants that have taught me so much. They're not with us anymore today. I think of Omer Muchmore. I think of Mildred Kilty. I think of Jeremiah Sullivan. I think of Fran Martin. I think of Bill Marino. I could go on. These are giants. These are people who gave us direction. But you know something? No matter how good your board is, no matter how good your CEOs are, no matter how good your community representation is, you don't do it with the people that come to work every day. That's what makes this agency great. There was a philosopher whose name if I planned what I was going to say, I would have looked this up. But this particular individual once said that what makes a nation great is how it cares for people who are less fortunate than themselves. Think about that. What makes a nation great is how it cares for people who are less fortunate than themselves. And that's what the employees of this agency have done. That's what you do every single day. Because you care, you're committed, and you're dedicated. So I'm closing this by saying, for those people who are not standing up, I'd ask you to stand up right now. Every one of you. We don't have that many chairs. Come on, stand up, everyone. And at the count of three, I want everybody, at the count of three, to just put your hands together with a resounding applause for the people who really make the difference for us. Those people who come to work every single day, and that's you. Thank you from the bottom of our heart.